Alright, I'm out here doing some peeling today on the backhoe. Hey Roxy. It's been a while since I've posted anything on YouTube. And if you're wondering about Blue left us and went on to another home, I guess. I don't know where he went. He came back one day and he had two collars on. And then he came back another day with no collars on. And then I never saw him again. But anyway, I think somebody claimed him. So today I'm messing with these work lights on the backhoe. I mounted two of them on here and I ain't real happy with them or the way they turned out. So I bought some other ones. And I've got an idea on what I want to do. These kind of have a goofy mount. Let me get up here and show you. Climbing on the backhoe. These have a special mount that mounts into they pivot. And what I ended up doing, I don't know if you can really see how that works, but I ended up making some metal. Just took some, what did I take? 5/8 steel rod, and I drilled through it, and then I welded a piece on the side and I tapped it with a bolt hole. Now these can be adjusted, but I don't like this. See, that one's already coming loose. These lights are a little bit too big and I need to come up with something better. So anyway, I've got an idea. Might work. Anyway, I'm gonna give that a try. Okay, so here's what I had in mind. I've got the lights off. These are the factory brackets, and you can see there's not a good place to really mount a light. You could possibly drill and go through this plastic, but I don't think that's a good plan. You can see here I've added some bolts through my plastic top because it did blow off once. I've got them the same on the front. This is just a safety deal. New Holland should have addressed years ago, but I figure if I can take a piece of flat plate like this and I can bolt it to each bracket, then that gives me room to mount a light somewhat level under here, if that makes any sense, and then it can pivot side to side. But what I've got, these are some Harbor Freight lights. I hope I don't regret them. They're pretty bright. They're a lot brighter than the factory lights. I've got a couple that's got the side vision or side view, and then I've got a couple like this. But what I had in mind is use that plate, and then I can just bolt up. This is the best design I've come up with, I think, yet on this. There's just not an easy way to do it. You got to remember this window comes up when your window's open, so you can't have them hang down too far, which they would be just a little bit lower than the factory position, which the biggest issue with these lights and the back window being open is this window blocks. So at night when you need the window open actually to see something, this window actually shades the lights because it hangs out. So my thinking is maybe I should, I don't know, I could only gain about a ½ inch if I went up. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to bolt these. I'm going to have one on each side, and I may shorten this. I just kind of cut it a little bit wild to length there. These brackets are different lengths from the cab. These stick out farther than these, so that would put this at a bit of an angle. Or if I had a longer piece, I could go all the way across and maybe just bolt to each side. I don't know, but I think either way I'm going to put a spacer between here and use that full mount so it's more rigid. So I'll probably have to cut me a piece of pipe or something for a spacer to put in there. Just bolt through it. If I put it like this light would set back a little further to the back of the tractor, which would help out with the issue of this window. I mean, you can always shut the window and you got full vision. Anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at maybe doing. This is the factory wiring that comes out. You can, and I've already just basically crimped some plugs on that fit the new lights. So that part's pretty easy. It's just trying to figure out what works best here and if that would be rigid enough. I think it would be. A solid plate that went all the way across, and I could mount it to the back mounts. It could come all the way across from the back, just all the way from this mount here. And if I did that though, it wouldn't have any support on the ends, and I don't know how much support it actually needs. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at doing next. Actually, this is probably the easiest, fastest way to do it, because all I got to do is punch a couple holes in this plate, a couple holes for the lights, a couple holes for the mounts, and this would just, you know, if I put a spacer in here, it would be pretty rigid, I think. And then this light could be bolted up. It could be adjusted side to side, up and down on the factory mount. So I have some on the front that I actually bolted directly to the cab, but I don't like that option on the back. I'd like to be able to turn them to the side. Now these lights here, there's a left and a right, and they have a side light. And I'm almost thinking I might put these in the middle. Of course, this one will be the, since it's upside down, it would have to go on the other side. But this light here gives light off to the side of the main beam. So if I put them over here, that might be better if it was on the outside. That way it would shed more light over to the sides. I can play with that after the bracket's built, probably. But that's kind of what I'm looking at doing. Never liked the lighting on this backhoe. It's never been very bright, and I don't run at night that often, but when you do, it really makes you think, man, I ought to spend some time, a little bit of money putting better lights on it. But these LEDs are way brighter than the factory lights by double. Fact is, I've got a couple on the front. Take you through this away here. And these are some mounted on the front, and like I said, I just bolted these into the factory bolt. These lights here, when you turn these on, you can see. You turn these on, you can really see. So these are switched separately. These two come on second position on the switch. The outside ones come on the first position on the switch. And I also got me a new light on the, that one's been busted out for a long time. I should have bought two of them. This one's looking pretty old, but this is a 2007 backhoe, so you know, you got to consider. But if this mount works out on the back, I may do the same on the front and mount up two more of these, and they could be angled out to the sides a little bit further. These put out plenty of light straight forward, but I do need some brighter ones kind of shining over to the side. But anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. This is the factory spacers that went on these bulbs. I just bolted them back on so it wouldn't look stupid. If I do put the mount out further here, these lights would set out a little further to the front, which I'm not sure that's necessary on the front as it is on the back. Anyway, the old B95 still making money, and I like to spend a little bit here and there to keep things up. I had this grill was busted on here. I finally broke down, spent the $120 for a new piece of plastic there, but that holds the filter in under the seat. So I got rid of the duct tape that was holding the filter in place and got that back. So you know, the thing with this old equipment is if you just run it until it's ragged and all the pieces and parts are broke, you get to a point one day and you say, well, it just ain't worth fixing. But if you spend some time and take care of some things on them in little bites instead of big ones, it ain't so bad. So anyway, that's kind of what I'm up to. But I want to show you, this is just catching you up. My shop's a mess. I've been busy. But this is my new project slash something I probably didn't need. This is a 1970 International 1200 four-wheel drive pickup, and my friend Bob had this, and I saw it and I'm like, Bob, I'd sure like to buy that truck, and he sold it to me for a pretty reasonable price. But this is I think a pretty clean truck for 1970. It's still got the factory seat cover. It's got the factory floor mat. There's no rust in it. This truck's rust free pretty much. Roxy can't wait to ride in it. She keeps telling me to get it running and drive it. Truck has 48,000 original miles, 4-speed. Of course, people call that a 3-speed with granny low, but to me it's always just a 4-speed. Reverse is over and up. Got a manual shifter on the diff, of course. It's got a factory International Harvester spotlight. Of course, got the gun rack in the back. Needs a little work. This truck has been barn kept most of its life, I believe, or most of the time it's been sitting. It's got a toolbox in the back and a ginormous 200-gallon fuel tank, which still has some fuel in it. It's got a gooseneck hitch. I've still got to clean it out. I've got to get a lot of stuff done, but like the fenders are not rusted. Still has the old split rim. These are 750 16 tires, split rims on them. I'll probably be getting rid of the split rims, but overall the truck's dirty. I mean, I think it was probably an old pumper's truck or something like that for oil wells. Anyway, I got that going on. I'm working on the carburetor on it. I think we've kind of determined that I found the problem with the carburetor. It's got a Holley 4-barrel, but it's got a crack in this housing right there, so it leaks gas. This thing will run, but the carburetor floods it, so I can't really get it running like I'd like to. Needs brakes fixed. Like I say, Roxy can't wait to she can't wait to ride in it, but you can see this whole thing just needs cleaned. It's still got the weather stripping on the doors. It's about as solid old truck as you'll find. So anyway, just to catch you up to speed what's going on around here, I've been doing lots of digging, lots of footings. I got in with another company and they're keeping me pretty busy, so might have to adjust that door a little bit. Anyway, it's got the old 345 V8 gas engine, 2-barrel carb. It's dirty, but I've had it running, and when it fires up, it sounds pretty strong. I need to give it a bath. I want to get it running so I can drive it in and out of the shop so I can work on it. I don't want to keep it in this location forever because I do need space in my shop when I need to fix things. So anyway, just to catch you up, give you a little update on what I'm up to. I haven't forgot about YouTubing. I just haven't had time and haven't felt like taking the extra hours of my day and putting them into videos. Sometimes I have to take those hours and put them into fun stuff like this. So another thing I got working on, and like I say, the shop's a mess. This is a E40D transmission I just rebuilt. I haven't quite got, I still got to put the pan on it, but I just went through this, did a complete rebuild on it. This is the first automotive transmission I've ever rebuilt. I have rebuilt, dozer transmissions and that kind of stuff, but I didn't video any of this work on this transmission because I used a YouTube channel called Transmission Bench to do the rebuild, and I'm watching video as I build. Help me keep things straight, but this is a project I need to get buttoned up. I had a few odds and ends I had to buy for it, but it's almost ready to go in the truck. Got new solenoid pack in it, got new plug-ins for all the electrical stuff on it. It's a 94 model pickup, so they had some electrical stuff on them, just enough to be aggravating, not really enough to be helpful. But anyway, this has all been full of transmission parts, and so like I say, I didn't video that rebuild, but that's something I've been up to working on. There's just times you can't do it all, or I can't do it all. I don't know how people do it and put it all on camera. It's a lot of work. Anyway, just to give you a little update, Roxy is actually pretty happy Blue doesn't live here anymore because she was not a fan of Blue. He was not nice. Well, he was actually really playful, but she didn't like to play. So anyway, look forward to more videos of this truck. I mean, there will be some coming up on it for sure. Stuff's made out of steel, not just tin foil like the new ones. So I can't wait to get it going. This is going to be a fun one to have around. Future plans for it are just to basically try to keep it as stock as possible. I'll probably do a few upgrades on it, but nothing at the moment, nothing big. I have thought about putting a Holley Sniper on it, but those are a little pricey, and then you got to put a fuel pump in the, you got to have high pressure fuel pump, and then you got electronics on it, and then you're like, well, is it still an old truck or is it, I don't know. So I hope to get a good carburetor on it, get it running, and like I say, I don't have plans to restore it. I don't have plans to tear it down. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to use it just for, when you want to enjoy a ride in a real truck. Does have a rust spot right there. Internationals were probably, when I go look at a used or an old International, they're usually rusted plumb out. So I'd say overall this one's in pretty good shape. It's got the factory mirrors, I guess, and they're kind of cool. They're shaped like an airplane wing. These mirrors are just like the ones on the Kenworth, only a little bit smaller, which I thought that was neat, but looks like somebody used to haul stuff laying across the mirror bracket. So anyway, cool truck. Got probably some history to it that I'm excited about that. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get some lights mounted up on the backhoe and catch you up when I get them done. And man, they are bright. Way brighter than what was on it. I still got to tie the wires up, but I'm not sure. Time will tell which lights I like better. Two different types of them, but it's not quite dark yet, but that's with the two center ones off. That's with all of them off. So you can see a little bit lighting up. I may need to go more with the spotlights. I don't know for sure, but I'll show you my front ones. Well, you can see the old lights are pretty dim compared to the new ones. Lights just don't do a whole lot. Anyway, I think I'm gonna like having LEDs. I'm just not sure. There's with no lights, there's with my regular lights, and there's with my LEDs. LEDs are way brighter. Anyway, I kind of like the looks of the center lights I got on here better than the other ones. I think they just look a little cooler. Like I say, I need to clean the wires up, and yeah, those smaller lights are only 20 bucks a pair. Them bigger ones are about 35. You get a set for $70, I think. So it needs to get a little darker before I really do a test on that to see which ones are better. But anyway, kind of rained on us a little bit here, so everything's a little wet. But I'm gonna tidy up the wires. I may end up switching those two outer ones out with some. I've got two more of the spotlights. I just think I like the looks of those better, a little cleaner. The other ones, I don't know if they actually put out more light to the side than, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if I just aimed them different. But with a backhoe, it's hard to get good lighting from the cab because of the boom. It shadows everything. So obviously it would be better if the light was on the boom. And I used to have some I put on the boom. But they weren't LEDs and they weren't near that bright. So we'll see how these work. I don't dig in the dark that much, but Roxy says it's raining. We gotta go in the house. It's not thundering, it's just raining. Anyway, that's all for today.